When you look at a food label, you see numbers, calories, grams of fat, grams of carbs, maybe some fiber if you're lucky. But when your gut bacteria look at that same food, metaphorically, of course, they see an entirely different universe. To them, a lentil isn't 15 grams of carbs and 8 grams of protein. It's a buffet of fermentable fibers, polyphenolic compounds, plant cell walls, resistant starches, and chemical signals that can trigger everything from butyrate production to immune modulation. They're not counting calories, they're decoding molecular patterns. And in many ways, their interpretation matters far more than yours. This microbial perspective is forcing a rethink of what food does in the body. For decades, we've obsessed over calories in and calories out, assuming the metabolic story of a meal began and ended in our bloodstream. But now, science is showing that your gut flora get the first word. They're the ones who process much of what you can't digest, the complex polysaccharides, insoluble fibers, and secondary plant compounds, and their response can reshape everything from blood sugar control to inflammation to whether you feel hungry again in 2 hours or 5. It's like you're outsourcing digestion to a team of interns, and depending on their skills and mood, you'll either feel fantastic or like you got food poisoned by a salad. Take a bowl of pistachios. On paper, it might look like a mix of fats, protein, and some fiber. But to your microbes, pistachios are a treasure trove. There's arabinogalactin and xyloglucan in the cell walls, unique polyphenol in the green and purple skin, and prebiotic fibers that fuel bacteria like Bifidobacterium and Roseburia. These bacteria don't just quietly metabolize the scraps, they produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, which reinforce your gut lining, reduce systemic inflammation, and improve insulin sensitivity. Meanwhile, certain other foods, even if low in calories, might feed bacteria that generate pro-inflammatory compounds like lipopolysaccharides, LPS, or trimethylamine, TMA, which are linked to metabolic disease. So two foods with identical calorie counts can leave entirely different biochemical footprints. That's why the question, how many calories is this, is becoming less useful. Instead, we should be asking, how will my microbes react to this? Will this food increase microbial diversity or shrink it? Will it promote the growth of SCFA-producing species, or fuel the expansion of pro-inflammatory bugs like Enterobacteriaceae? Will it feed the strains associated with better metabolic control, or the ones tied to obesity and insulin resistance? These are not hypothetical questions, they're being actively studied, and the answers often depend more on food quality and complexity than on macronutrient math. For example, studies comparing diets that are isocaloric, meaning the same number of calories, but different in fiber, fat quality, or food source, show radically different outcomes. Whole food diets rich in plants tend to increase microbial diversity and SCFA production, while ultra-processed diets, even when calorie-matched, tend to reduce microbial richness and elevate inflammatory markers. It turns out that what feeds you might not be what feeds them, and your long-term health depends on keeping them well-fed with the right kind of fuel. This reframing of food as microbial communication also helps explain why certain healthy foods backfire for some people. If your microbiome is skewed, say, low in butyrate producers or overrun with bile-loving bugs, even a high-fiber meal might produce bloating or discomfort. That doesn't mean fiber is bad. It means your microbial infrastructure isn't ready for it yet. It's like dropping a jazz band into a punk club. Great music, wrong crowd. Over time, though, consistent exposure to plant diversity can shift your microbial balance and train your gut to handle and benefit from complex foods. So the next time you're scanning a label, go beyond the numbers. Think about what the food might say to your microbiome. Is it whispering encouragement to your Akkermansia? Is it feeding your lactobacillus like a well-crafted sourdough? Or is it dumping a load of empty starches that leave your gut bugs grumpy and inflamed? Your microbes aren't counting calories. They're reading the fine print. And increasingly, science suggests we should too.